Mike just gave me the word. We're back. It's Friday, and this is the big night. It's the big reveal. So we want to, once again, thank Schuylkill Valley Sports and ASICS here for partnering here with PA District, I'm going PA District 1 Wrestling.com. No, PA Wrestling.com. We're going to get into some of the coaches' choices and selections and, who they think the best teams are in District 1. We've interviewed a lot of coaches. You've heard from the new coaches already. But again, we're real excited to get into this show tonight, but we're going to roll with the coaches.
Springford is year to year always tough. That's every year they're one of the teams that's always in consideration. And even though you may not know who their guys are, they're good. So, and I think that this year, meanwhile, they are probably the best team in the region. Council Rock North has 5 studs, and they need a couple more to make the lead team. South, again, you may not know who they are, but they're going to be good. ONJ is the same thing. They're going to be good. The Chamonix was tough last year. Should be returning a lot of guys. And Quakertown should be returning some guys. So, but any team that stands out ahead of everybody, probably I would say Springford has the edge. And then it's going to be everybody else who's going to have some young guys step up. Yeah, Chestmont's going to be tight again this year. I think we have enough guys to make it competitive. It's Henderson, I think, is probably the top team that everybody's looking to figure out how to beat them, and put a couple guys in the right spot, get some key wins. I think we can make it real interesting with them and possibly win that and win Chestmont. Top. I think we are a pretty solid top 10 team. Couple good matches, and we could be in the top 4 and go to state goals again. That's our goal. Win Chestmonts, win districts, and qualify guys for that state tournament, get the state goals.
Well, as always, Council Rock South is the team that you sets the bar for everybody, and you try to match up with them the best you can. I think Springford's going to be a nice team. They're going to be very competitive this year. O&J is always tough, and they always find a way to balance the lineup and be competitive. So, those are 3 right off the top of my head, but I know there's a couple more that are getting better, and silently going to sneak up and be a challenge this year. So it's going to be very interesting. There's a couple teams that are building a good program. Strathaven's doing a great job. Conestoga, their kids are wrestling a lot in the off season. So and Upper Darby always finds a way to put a tough lineup out. So we're going to try to make sure we're ready, and we're going to be able to compete. And it's going to be a challenge. To go back to back is a hard thing to do, but that's one of our goals, is to do something we've never done before, and that's a three-peat. So we'll see what we can do. We're going to get ourselves ready and be ready to compete.
Well, in District 1, we got your natural powers. It'll be Henderson and Council Rock South. Henderson this year really is, Rob's put together a really tough team, and it's going to be fun to see where they go. But it's the natural powers that have been the solid programs. O&J, Council Rock North, they'll all be in the mix. What happened? We lost Glen Mills, which causes a problem in the league. We're down to 4 teams, but Interborough is going to be super, super tough. They have their entire lineup coming back, and they had 6 regional qualifiers from last year's team all returning. They're going to be super, super tough. Chai always has excellent kids. I believe they have 6 returners that were outstanding. So it's going to come down to Interboro's got the lead right now, I believe, but it'll come down to Interboro, Chai, and hopefully we have a little say about that, but we'll see. Penwoods, Danny's working hard with those kids. They're going to have some tough kids. So it's a shame. It's a 4-team league. We're trying to maybe someday move into a larger league. I'll put that plug in. But yeah, that's the way it should look.
Well, we know the usuals. South, South's always going to be tough. They always put 14 studs out there. Springford's so tough. Quakertown, I think, has got a bunch back. The Chamonix, tough. I'm Downingtown West. These are all the ones that, like right now, I'm asking those same questions. What their lineup's going to look like, how's everyone going to match up with them, and we'll see how we match up with them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to do these, preseason predictions, but as well as I do, this is like the teams that are good right now aren't necessarily teams that are going to be good when it really counts. But you look at your typical programs that are programs. They're good year in and year out. They're well coached. They have a great system in place. So you look at the Springfords, you look at the Owen J. Roberts, you look at the Council Rocks. You never count out any of the Westchester teams like Ruston and Henderson, and so I think there's going to be a lot of parity this year. It should be Boyertown. You can never rule them out. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great for our sport, great for District 1, and it's just going to be exciting.
Chestmont National, tough for us. Right now I think Henderson is looking very, very solid. They had a great year last year. Very balanced lineup. Downingtown West has a lot of talent, good numbers. I think it's going to be a tough league for us this year to compete in, but we're looking forward to it. Right here today, we have some really tough teams. In Council Rock North, they have some incredible talent in a lot of their weights. Springford, talk about a balanced lineup. I mean, from top to bottom, they have not only potential but confirmed experience. They're looking very solid. You can never count out Council Rock South. When they move a class on, they always pick one up on the backside, it seems. Owen J. Roberts, also here from the Pac-12, looks very tough. I think it's going to be a great competitive year here in District 1, no doubt.
Obviously, Owen J. and Boyertown are going to be right up there at the top. In fact, it has a new coach with Coach Haley, and I'm sure they're going to be much improved. And we also have PB. It returns a lot of guys from last year, so we're just hoping to be competitive in that mix. And we don't wrestle these teams for almost a month and a half, so that's a long way off to get to there. Obviously, Council Rock South, until somebody beats them, nobody's beaten them in District 1 in I wouldn't even know how long. It's been probably 3 years or so. They're still the team to beat. They return a lot of good quality kids, and they have one of the best coaching staffs in the state. So, in my book, they're still number one. Council Rock North probably has some of the most individual talents. And, they do a great job, and they fill in some of their weight classes. They're going to be awfully hard to beat as well. Outside of that, you have Henderson, Downingtown East, and then Owen J, Boyertown in our league. Central League always has some good teams with Garnet Valley. So it should be very competitive, very wide open, I think, this year.
Double A, I mean, Faith Christians obviously set the bar at a place where we're all striving for, and Ben's done a great job with that program. So we'll see where we go.
I think we're right up there with the upper echelon of the Garnet Valley, Upper Darby, Strathaven, and it's going to be a tight one this year. I think there's a lot of good teams. We've got Pencrest, Ridley. We came down to the criteria last year, so it's going to be tough. But I think we're up there with the upper echelon. Springford comes to mind. They're a really talented team. Interborough really did have a really great district tournament last year. Those are the teams that we're looking to have our kids wrestle up against them come districts and regionals.
South's always up there, so you hear that all the time. And North has got their 5 powerhouse. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, we've had
it's right in our backyard, both of those teams. So.
Yeah, I think Springford always has a really strong program, and they seem to reload and have people kind of come out of the not out of the woodwork, but they develop a really strong program for Springford. I think another strong team is Pennsbury's on the rise. We wrestled with them in a duel to open our season last year, and they really showed us what kind of new coach, what new ideas can really do to help bolster a team. So I think they're going to be competitive. Teams like Owen J. Roberts are always competitive. Team like Neshaminy that we're here with today has got a lot of talent and a lot of depth, much like us. So we hope to emulate these programs and try to find our own successes within with them and wishing them good seasons as well.
Who's the better team this year, Council Rock North or Council Rock South?
I think Council Rock South is, reloading. They're coming off of I think a 4th place finish at state last year. I don't see much change there. It's always a rubber match between the two. I just feel like Coach Sill has a lot a lot more up his sleeve always, it seems. So I would put the favor towards Council Rock South.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Excellent.
Well, I would start with our league, which I concentrate on most. I think Abington's got a pretty solid team coming back. Harper's got a pretty solid team coming back. Looking at further out, Council Rock North looks like they're really loaded, especially as a tournament team. They have 5 stud wrestlers that I think all state kind of qualifier material, Cam Robinson and Lucerne and all those guys. So North looks like they're going to be a team to reckon with. South is always good. Not quite sure about the other teams outside of that.
So in our league, Wissahickon knocked us off last year. That's something that I'd like to work towards, getting back on the right side of that again.
The Downingtowns are always good, well coached. Breeze and Joey, East and West do a good job. So it's always Downingtowns on our side. It'll be tough, and then, Ruston's always wins that over there. They're always tough out. Sun Valley's up and coming. Those kids wrestled a lot this summer. Those kids were here a lot. We worked out with them a lot. They're going to be much improved. And then Oxford down low is really talented. Very talented group down low. It's the usual suspects. Until you beat the champs, they're still the champs. Little Ric Flair is Council Rock South. I mean, they did graduate a lot, but don't let them fool you. They reload. They're going to be really good. We'll see them early, which will be a great test for us, see where we're at. So Rock South, Springford, got everybody back. Probably the most consistent team year after year with Springford. There's always tough. I mean, they always grind. So up there, Council Rock North, full of hammers. I mean, they have a good run for the state tournament, individual-wise. I mean, they got 4 or 5 kids state medals. So Council Rock North, very tough. O and J, we saw them in a scrimmage. Very well coached team, thick in the middle. Petroselli and those guys, yeah, they're tough. So, and I think we're there. Neshaminy, Quakertown, always, tough kids, good schedule. So it kind of rounds it out.
Well, there's some really good competition around this year. So District 1, still Perry always has a great team. So South, I would say, is probably one of the top contenders.
Like always, Garnet. Garnet's going to be top dog. Ridley's going to be tough this year, but I think we're taking it. Our schedule sets up pretty nice this year, and I'm a little biased, but we're coming for the top dogs. And this Garnet, they've won it, I think, 3 out of the past 4 years, with Upper Darby winning at 1. But we have our sights set on them. We don't get the rest of them in a dual meet this year, so it'll come down to essentially a tournament. But that's who we're coming for. We want that championship. We haven't had one, so that's our goal. And the kids know that. They've been working hard, and they want it. Honestly, all the top teams we know. The North, Council Rock North, Council Rock South, they're going to be top dogs. Downingtowns, I think we see a Downingtown East and West at a tournament this year. Westchester Ruston, they're going to be great. That's a little dig at Begley right there. I know he's a Henderson guy. Of course, Henderson's going to be really good as well. The teams that continue to kind of set the tone, the teams that you see all off season that are continuously wrestling, they're the teams that we want to kind of mimic and get to that level. So, again, district duels, that would be a great goal. I mean, even if we get in, as a lower seed, it'd be great to wrestle at Council Rock South because we don't see them in a dual meet or anybody that's at that high caliber level where we want to be.
In the Chestmont, it's still going to be Henderson, Ruston, just because they've held the grasp on our American side for so long. And then overall in D1, Council Rock South, Council Rock North, bring back a loaded team. Boyertown, Springford, those type of people that are pushing to eventually catch up to.
One of the interesting things I think this year is I really do believe that there's a large pool of teams that are going to be competing. I think both Council Rocks have quite a bit of talent on their team. Springford returns a large team with a lot of talent. Garnet Valley is one of those teams that always kind of seems to be in the mix. There's quite a few teams out there. Quakertown had quite a few talented kids. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to the district duels this year. Kind of seeing what teams continue to improve. That's going to be the big thing this year. Is right now there's a lot of teams that that in my mind there's 6 or 7 teams that are pretty close to each other. As the season goes on, who starts to separate themselves? Whose schedule really pushes teams to get better? Which teams are putting in the kind of work that it takes to get better? And come district duels, then it's going to be settled.
Hey, right now we're going to go to the video we have of all the coach interviews that we've compiled in this preseason. And in these videos, you're going to see coaches talk about who on their team is surprising them, who they think is going to step up, where they think they finish this season, and from there we'll go into top teams. So stay tuned.
Our numbers are up in the room. We've been practicing mid-20s with kids, and we got a couple that'll probably come out from the football team also. So our numbers are up. The kids are working hard. I got Billy McGinley, my new assistant coach. He's been great. So things are looking up. They're good. Improve, get better. We're trying to do that on a daily basis. Be better than you were yesterday. Be better than you were last week. And of course, we want to be, as a whole, be better than we were last season. So I don't think we can quite compete yet, but we're going to be better than we were last year. So we got a few freshmen, good. We got Schindel, we got Barlow, we got a couple others. They're tough kids. But the transition from middle school to high school, from youth wrestling, BJWs to high school, it's a tough transition. So I hope they pan out. I hope they do well. They're working hard. So as far as newbies go, yeah, we got a few more. We're better than we were last year.
Practice is going well. We're just trying to get the routine established. We're trying to fine tune some things for early season competition, and also trying to get in some wrestling shape. So we're getting in the room, getting after it, and getting some consistency going. So it's gone pretty good so far. Well, we like to continue where we left off. We had a great season last year. And we like to just continue that and keep building off of that, and keep the Garnet Valley tradition moving forward. We have Matthew Mazzaros and Checchio, who's going to be coming out and be pushing some of our more experienced wrestlers in the middleweights. Our sophomore class is very strong, and they come in and work hard. Very impressed with the way Matthew Rickey's working and Griffin Hollingsworth's working. So those guys kind of get in the center of the room and push the pace. Our senior Kevin Politti, we're expecting him to turn around and have a good year this year. So we have talent in the room, and we got some guys that don't have their name out there yet, but hopefully we can get our name out there, and hopefully we can get a strong lineup and be very competitive.
To be honest, I don't pay a ton attention to the leagues. I'm really focused on the individual goals of our team, and the league will kind of take care of itself. I'm excited to be competing in a new league, see some new teams, travel some new high schools more frequently. It's always a fun thing to do. But I found in past experiences kind of competing, getting to regionals, getting to Hershey, those are the important goals. And if I'm able to focus the team on that, then taking care of all those steps in between will kind of happen themselves. So really focusing on the individuals, getting them to their goals, I feel like it'll take care of the rest. But we got some work to do to be able to get to that point. But definitely being a new part of the chess mount will be fun, and we're looking to get after it. The first one off the top of my head is probably Casey Capitola. He's a returning regional qualifier, extremely hard worker, great kid on and off the mat, so I can't really complain. I can't find a thing to complain about with him. So having him around has been great. It's been great watching him grow in just the preseason and 2 weeks that we've been together just working. So I think he's going to jump leaps and bounds, and that's the goal for him. The other one is Tyler Humphreys, one of our bigger guys. He is talented, put together, but he's got some work to do technique-wise, and I think he's accepting the challenge. He's been open-minded to learning. So I think if he's able to put a couple good weekends together, he may shock some people.
It's going very well. We have a lot of kids in the room, which is always good. Get our numbers up for the sport. We have a good incoming freshman class, so we're really excited for the season coming. We have our returning regional qualifier, Shane McAdams. We're hoping he makes a strong push for states and can medal up there. We have some underclassmen that we're looking forward to having. We have a transfer in, Donnie Reimer, who we're fortunate to have. We have a lot of juniors that are in our lineup this year that should really make some noise and hopefully get to regionals and possibly states as well.
Yeah, goals for this season are pretty simple. Every day we're getting better. We're analyzing our kids a lot more and putting more on the kids' goal set, individually and for the team. We pride ourselves on our strength and conditioning program, as well as just outworking our opponent. If we can get the other guy tired, we'll usually win those matches. So team expectations are high. We've made district duels the past 2 years. We hope to continue that trend of getting there. Seeding-wise, we haven't really been the strongest of seeds, so we're hoping to really have a better seed this year and really give ourselves a chance to get to that top 8 district duels. I think is a good goal for us as a team. The thing with our team is just balance. We got a lot of guys with talent, and they're spread out, and girls as well with talent. And we're kind of spread out over the 14 weight classes. So our freshmen and sophomores have really been putting in the work. We had 50 off-season practices, and we had good attendance from our younger kids, or single sport athletes. In that, we got a couple nice, transfers coming in as well that really helped to bolster our lineup.
Expectations were making it to district duels and trying to get into state duels and stuff like that. We're a very young team, so that's probably not going to happen, especially since the beginning of our season is pretty rough, starting off in the Boyertown duels. And we got
it's a good test.
We got a pretty rough schedule to start the season.
We've been looking good so far this year. We've been working hard. Our goal is just to be 1% better than we were yesterday. So just starting to square one and then keep building. Just tell the kids a good attitude and put forth your best effort every day at practice, and good things will come to happen. So we're just excited to see how high we can climb this season.
Well, practice so far this year has been great. We have numbers are up from last season's team. We're trying to come in, and right now our biggest goal is get the numbers up, get a full squad going. We have about 19 on the roster, and we hope to grow that number. Hard-working group of kids. We're still getting to know each other. The outlook this year for the team is just wrestle hard and begin to get the kids into the culture of wrestling, to begin to live the lifestyle of a wrestler. And it's a little foreign right now to this group of boys, but they're a young team. We have one senior on the team, Dom Stoughton, and we expect them to lead by example. And we have a very young team that we hope to grow with our numbers. We have a very big freshman class coming in. I believe we have 8 wrestlers that are freshmen coming in. So we're still getting to know each other. Gabe Whittington is an up-and-comer, and we expect a lot from him right now. He's handling a hand injury, but he'll be back probably at the end of the first third of the season. We also have Dom Stoughton returning as our senior leader. We also have a transfer, Chris Diaz-Jackson, who moved to the district from Upper Moreland. He'll be a junior this year. He'll be joining our team and has been acclimated to the team very well.
Well, I think you're going to see a different Council Rock South team this year. Last year we had a really special senior class that went through a lot. It's hard to replace those guys. I think we graduated 11 guys. 6 of those guys were state qualifiers. So it'll be a great challenge for us this year. But I'm super, super excited for some of the younger guys that are going to have a chance to shine, and even some upperclassmen that have been waiting in the wings. A guy like Joel Martinovsky that's just dying to get in the lineup on a regular basis. So although we're going to have some new faces, there really is only one goal. That's not going to change, and that is to do the best we can in our district, district duels, districts, regionals, state duels, and individual postseason. So I'm just looking forward to the process. It's going to be a long road for these guys. They're going to have a lot of great challenges and opportunities, and we're just really looking forward to embracing that. Kyle's a little bigger than he was last year. He was a little boy last year. He's going through puberty, and he's putting on some weight, and now he's a young man. So you're not going to see him down low anymore. He's kind of a lower middleweight now. Nice. So we're really excited for him, and obviously the goal for him is to get on that podium and get as high as he can, but at the same time, he has aspirations to wrestle Division I, so we want him as big as he can. I don't want him cutting much weight, and I just want him, really this year is preparing him for next year, for when he starts in wrestling Division I at the college level. Nice. Johnny Gilch is back. He's going to VMI. Again, our goal is to get him ready for next year, and if we do that, good things will happen in the postseason. So pretty exciting stuff. Cole Flanagan's back. He's battling a little injury bug right now, so we're looking forward to getting him back on the mat as soon as we can. And yeah, that'll help solidify our lineup. But in terms of our lineup, you're going to see a lot of new guys. Kevin Kinney was doing really, really well last year, and then Kyle dropped. But now Kevin's the guy to beat down low, and we're really looking forward to him going on a postseason run this year.
We're feeling pretty good. Our numbers are up a little bit. We have some better interest this year. We have some guys coming back from injury that are looking pretty promising. Matt Romanelli in the upper weights, 82, 70-ish around there, is looking pretty good. Recovering from shoulder surgery, been working hard. Keanu Manuel down low for us, 20-ish, 13-ish, possibly 6-ish at the end, is looking pretty good. Also working very hard. We have some good young kids. We're also pretty excited about some of the JV kids we've been working with in the past couple of years. Look like they're kind of ready to step up and take some spots. So overall, we're pretty pleased. I think Matt Romanelli coming back from his shoulder surgery, he's got a lot of motivation. Really looking to do some things this year. Our heavyweight is also back, Zach Aceto, fresh off the gridiron. He's looking to do some things this year, as well as Keanu down low, and we have a freshman in the lineup this year, Ryan Lowraw, who had a decent middle school career, is looking to assert himself in our lineup. So we have a couple good looks, and again, looking for some of those developmental kids who've been really working hard to step up and assert themselves as well.
First week of practice was good. Our guys came in, worked real well, stayed pretty focused. We got a couple guys on the football team. Our football team's doing really well, and our guys are not taking it as a negative. They're taking it as a positive. The more the football team does, the more these guys want to work and fill those gaps until those football players get back. And I only have a couple, but they're important parts of our team. But we've been taking it as a positive. We hope best of luck to them. But like I said, we've been kind of feeding off of it. That's been great for us. We've had a real good week of practice. And well, we have the Hale family. So every year there's a new Hale that comes in. And this year's no different. We got another Hale coming in. He's big. He's 170. Could be 180. So and he's wrestling pretty well. He's got talent, and he's maturing. So I think that he could win some big matches this year. He says he wants to do well, and now he's starting to work that way to where he could be pretty good. Have another brother, Harrison Hafer, who is pretty tough. And seems to have a good attitude right now, and is looking really good in practice this week. So I think those two guys could make some noise this year.
Week's been great. Kids are working hard. We got 36 in the room. We didn't have any seniors last year, so we have pretty much everybody back. So we kind of hit the ground running. Pretty excited. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, and honestly, I can't think of another team like this team. 3 returning medal winners. We got 5 kids that wouldn't surprise me how high on the podium they go. It's pretty special, and I'm really just grateful to be a part of it with these guys and to watch them grow from the time they were young. I mean, to have 5 real D1 kids with Hauserman just committing to Penn the other day. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. That's all I can really just say. I'm just so excited to watch these guys get out there and compete. I mean, obviously we're going to be a pretty special tournament team. That's pretty easy to figure out. The dual meet will be a challenge, but we have a nice pocket of kids that we're going to build around those 5. That we're looking for like 2 or 3 or 4 of those kids to really step up and make us a pretty competitive dual meet team. I mean, it's kind of early. We'll see how things play out in the month of December, but we're excited. We really don't know how it's going to play, but we certainly have a nucleus to build off of. Those next tier guys, we have Tony Burke. He's going to probably end up being our 6-pounder. Pretty excited about him. He had a really good offseason. Heavyweight Max Harrar. Junior, he's really growing. He's developing into a pretty decent heavyweight. We're excited about him. Blake Silber, 95, 82-pounder. We'll see how he's a junior. He's been putting in a lot of good time. Brendan Hardy's an up-and-coming JV, potential varsity guy. Alex Rowe got some varsity experience last year. So we're just, Danny Fitzgerald, we're pretty pumped about him. There's kids that we're waiting to see what happens.
Practice is going great. We still have a Thanksgiving Day football game, so I have 7 guys playing football, so the room's a little light right now, but the guys we have are working hard and getting their weight down to where it needs to be, and this year could be a fun year for us. We got a few years back we had no seniors on the team. We have, I think, 7 seniors on, we do have 7 seniors on the team this year, so we're pretty excited. We're going to have every weight class, have someone in every weight class, so that's a plus, and as long as we stay healthy, that old adage like everyone else, you stay healthy, we're going to have a fun year, and we got some pretty big expectations. We've won the league 3 years in a row here, the Suburban 1 League, I think the Continental Conference, so the guys are looking at that 4th year in a row. So we're working hard for that, and we know we got a lot of work ahead of us, and there's some, North Penn and Penridge and Siderton, they're always tough. The CBs are getting better. They've adjusted their youth programs, and you're starting to see them start, to be competitive again and not have all those forfeits in our lineup. So, our league's going to be fun this year. The big picture, District 1, you got your normal, your Council Rocks, both North and South, that are going to be tough. The Pac-10, Springford and O&J and Thacton, and I'm forgetting one in there, Boyertown. You guys are always tough, so I'm not sure who's going to end up on top there, and so yeah, we're hoping that we fall in that top 5, top 10 District 1 team, and we look forward to making a push into the district tools as far as the team goes this year. It's one of our goals, and once again, we stay healthy, and our depth isn't. We don't have a lot of depth, and that's what got us last year. We lost 4 guys to season-ending injuries, and that really affected us to make a push for the postseason duels competition. So, yeah, we're excited. I got a great group of kids, got a great coaching staff. Coach Poster's been with me for 19 years. Ziegler comes down from District 11. He's tough and he knows all the kids because he was their youth coach for a lot of years. So it's an exciting time here at Quakertown Wrestling, and my administration is awesome, as you can see behind me here. We have a great facility. My superintendent, Doc Conner, and our athletic director, Sylvie Collish, really support us and help us out with getting top-notch equipment to run districts and other things. So we're pretty excited, and we're looking to do some fun things this year. So.
Right now we're just trying to put together a lineup. Every year you kind of count on guys being at certain weights, and then some guys grow, some guys don't. And getting certifications and all that put together is that's kind of been our focus these past couple weeks. And this weekend coming up, we have Cumberland Valley next Friday, so we have a lot of wrestle-offs to do, and just try to get everybody on weight and get them healthy. I don't know if there's anybody going to be in that we weren't expecting, but we are going to, we have some. We lost a lot of. We lost, Shane Reynolds. We lost Chase Smith. Dirk Nugent was huge for us last year in the middle. So right now we're looking to fill those weight classes, and with wrestle-offs this week and getting people down, we'll kind of figure out where everybody's going to fit in.
We should be pretty solid. A little young down low. Our upper weight should bring the power to the team. Every weight class should be full. Our numbers are pretty high. Somewhere around last year, we're anywhere between 40 to 50 kids. And some young ones, but they work hard. So we got high expectations for a couple high-level athletes we have. So we'll see.
Practice has been going very well right now. We have probably around 25 kids in the room. We don't have a lot of experience, but we do have a lot of youth. I don't think we have any juniors on the roster, maybe one. We do have some good senior leadership with Keyway McNair, Roman Moser, and Ozzy coming back. And we have a large group of freshmen, probably about 10, 12 kids who show promise for the future. There's a good group of them. None that stick out right now. I do like their work ethic in the room. They're really working hard right now, trying to pick up as much as they possibly can. So I hope that they continue to grow as the season progresses.
It's still a little difficult to tell. We have quite a few young guys, and we're still getting guys down to their weights. Technique-wise, we're still working on some pretty basic stuff. The guys are working hard. I like the way they're working in the room. Their effort and attitude, it's been great. So, I'm excited about that part of it. We're not there yet, but this weekend will tell us a little bit more. Yeah, we got a couple young guys. Jack Dalton's been working real hard for us. We were just kind of commenting on the effort that he's been putting in practice. Skylar David Heiser's been working real hard and getting better every day. We got a number of freshmen that are just getting better every day, and that's all you can ask from your freshmen. They got a long way to go. We're asking a lot of them. Mason Karkoska's working hard, but they got to work hard and they got to get better every day if they're going to compete with the competition that we're on the mat with. I'm always excited to wrestle in the pack just because it really keeps us motivated to work hard. If we're not getting better every day, we know that other teams out there are. I know we're going to be able to compete if our guys keep putting in the kind of effort that they are. If their attitude stays the way that it is, we're going to be competitive. But we have to keep getting better. There's just not room to not keep getting better. Our job is to go out and find the best competition we can outside of the pack so we can be ready to compete in the pack. And I'm pretty confident we've done that. But that's our job, to go out, find the best competition we can so we can be ready when the pack starts and we start hitting some of these teams.
We're going to be pretty solid from 26 all the way up to heavyweight. Our problem's going to be down low. For my school and my team, it's a rarity. We have a lot of experience. For the first time, I think I'm putting out at least 2 to 3 year experienced kids in 11 of the 14 weight classes. So it should be a pretty good, solid year for us. Well, we have one kid he's an MMA fighter who decided to step over and try wrestling. He's a senior. He's got this athletic ability and natural hips. Now, if we could just teach him not to go to his back in critical situations, we'll be in good shape. He may be seeing some time at 145 for us. What I've seen more is young kids, 9th graders from last year, who have really spent the summer with us and spent most of the year with us. They've really improved. So we're going to be solid, and we have a lot of young kids out. They've never wrestled before, but that's the part of coaching that's my responsibility. It'll be fun to watch these kids grow.
Practice has been pretty good. Expectations are measured. It's a very young team, a lot of freshmen, sophomores, a couple strong seniors. Look to be competitive within the Suburban 1 American, and hoping to challenge Faith Christian for a District 1 AA title. I've got a handful of freshmen that are going to start right away. I think Will Horn will probably step into the lineup pretty early. Will Shapley as well. Sebastian Pavone has an opportunity to get in the lineup early. And then a couple other newer guys up top that we're still waiting to see, but out from some fall sports and picking up wrestling real quick.
Been going really well. We have probably our largest team that we've had in 10, 15 years, about 40, 42 guys on the team. So the numbers are there, the work ethic is there. It's all about putting it together, but great first week so far. Yeah, we returned everyone minus 3 seniors from last year. So we are expecting big things out of this group. We had a great freshman class come in. We had about 20 wrestlers on an undefeated middle school team, so we're hoping that success transitions. Again, the work ethic from the new guys and the returning wrestlers has been phenomenal. But we have high expectations. Our goal is the Central League and District Duels. That's really what we're aiming for. District Duels would be awesome. Again, we haven't been there in quite a while, so that'd be a stepping stone for our program to get to where we want to go. Yeah, there's a handful of guys. Again, they're going to be battling with some older experienced guys, but basically at every weight that we have, there's a freshman guy that's going to be giving the older guy a run for the money. Just in the middle weights, Sam Milligan. He stands out. We have a 106-pounder, Adam Poppy, who has been phenomenal. His work ethic is second to none. We have a 20-pounder, Galvan. He's been wrestling really well. And then we get heavier guys. We have John Crawford's younger brother, Anthony, who is an animal. He wrestles and works hard. We have Ben Fairball, Bobby Fuskas. There's just a group of them that enjoy wrestling and want to get better. So it's great to see, and they're kind of buying into the program that we're preaching.
It's been good. We're a very young team, about 20 freshmen. So we have a pretty bright future ahead of us. Look, we would just like to be a 500 team this year and groom the freshmen. Probably half the team will be first-year varsity wrestlers, so looking to improve upon that. Danny Gorman, Austin Pendleton, Riley Hackett are three that stand out right now.
Not bad. First year ever in 9 that we've had over 30 kids, and it wasn't just over 30. We actually we got about a 42-man roster. Well, hopefully we're able to finally contend with the Westchester Rustins of our half of the Chestmont League. We finished finished second, before in years past, but hopefully we'll be able to make a push and try to get into the top sooner or later. We've done a lot over the last 9 years. BJ Barlow, my assistant coach, and myself through coaching with the youth program still. So our freshman incoming class, I think we have 14 freshmen, and all of them wrestled for over 4 or 5 years. One of the names is Alex Williams, and the other one is Dave Vogel.
Really well. For us, it's important to start with developing skills early. So we have a lot of young kids, so we've taken a lot of time to really reinforce the basics and work through some new things. Really excited this year, Joe. This for the first time in maybe 3 years, we're going to have a full lineup. Mostly young kids, so I'm excited to get them competing early, and it's fun to get them practicing on a day like today with different kids. I really like Colin Evanson. He's going to be our 6-pounder. Real tough kid, so I'm looking forward to him. And Charlie Hogan, another lightweight, I think will really make an impact.
Work ethics there. I mean, they've been working really hard. It's a lot of passion. They're going hard. I don't have to yell as much. I try to find things to yell at them, but no, they're very focused, very centered, excited for this year, and they are. It's a veteran group. I got just about everybody back from last year, and those core guys wrestled all summer, put the work in, hit the weights. Some guys got surprisingly bigger, and they're sold out to it, man. They're really in it. And those two worked hard this summer. I mean, Sammy had a great summer. Sammy put some weight on, beat some big names, and then Killian just, he's self-motivated. I don't have to say much to him. And he wasn't happy with his performance at States. He expected more, and then Sam thought he'd medal. But they conditioned them for this year, so actually they'll be better for it.
Practice has been going really hard. Kids are working hard. We have about 14 wrestlers in the room. We're trying to build on that, but everybody's working hard, learning stuff, and hopefully we can get some more kids in the room. TJ England probably be our best, not really upcoming. He's a state qualifier last year. We look for him to get a medal this year. A couple other kids, hopefully we can get them through up to regionals and get some medals there.
Coming off last year, winning the league title and the district title, it's going to be hard to repeat that. We lost 4 really good seniors, Thompson, Fennell, Sweeney, and Brammer. So it might be a little tough to repeat. Still have our sights set on the league title. We have 5 pretty good returning wrestlers. Coming back, Dan Keller, state qualifier, Matty Fritz, DJ Andrase, Alex Prieston, and of course I always miss somebody. So we have 4 or 5 good guys coming back to the team. Our expectations are still pretty high to try to get the league title. It's going to be a little tougher. I think Abington, Hatboro, Horsham, I think have the inside track right now. Maybe even PW coming up there a little, but that's our goals for the year.
Actually, I'm just looking for the 100% effort this year. From what we're seeing in the room now, every kid is working hard. We're a little younger, I think, this year. Well, we have a good, solid junior staff, decent amount of returners coming, so we have a nice core of kids to work with. So I think we're going to be competitive, and the work ethic in the room is unbelievable. We have some guys. I'll say Gabe Walsh is further ahead at this point this year than where he was last year. His conditioning's been great. He's moving well, all the kids. Real positive room atmosphere. Well, Josh just keeps getting better, moving really well, working with Charlie Baldessari, Ryan Core. So I think Josh is really focused. He's happy. It's great watching him wrestle in the room, so that means he's in a good spot. A couple of our older guys at Kent, Matt Griffith, I think this could be a breakout year for those two. They're wrestling really well in the room, drilling. They're two of the hardest workers I see in the room.
Excellent. This year we've got a lot of youth. We graduated 9 seniors last year, so 3 of those guys wrestling D1 right now. So we have a brand new group of kids. They're working hard, they're optimistic, and it's just a fresh feel. It's pretty exciting when you have so much youth. That gives us the opportunity to kind of rethink our processes a little bit. So we're instituting some new stuff, and it's definitely different, but kids are working hard, and everybody's gelling really well right now. The biggest thing I'm excited about is just the physicality of a couple of our young guys. There's some kids who are still pretty raw, but they're super physical, and so I think that's going to be one of the things that we really push. Is if we can't necessarily go out there and technically be the best, at least we can go out there and physically compete, which is an area that we've actually struggled with a little bit in the past. So I think that's going to be one of the things that some of our freshman kids can really bring to the table between our 45-pounder and Connor Woofit, 170-ish, is another physical kid. It's really cool kind of just looking online already. It's great to see teams like CB South. They've got a ton of kids on their roster right now, so they're growing. So I think this is a really, I kind of feel like our league's been really up and down the last couple of years, and you kind of never know what to expect. Quakertown, I'm sure, is going to be solid as always. I think they're definitely probably the front runner at this point. And then ultimately, I think we're all just going to kind of fill in the gaps from there. And I'm looking forward to us going out there and competing with just about everybody.
All right, so now just hearing from our coaches here in District 1, we got to interview during their scrimmages. You got to hear who they think the top teams are, and I know from the ones I've interviewed that it was a lot of the same teams you heard over and over again. And as we're building here to what Glenn and I,
I'm getting excited here, Jeff.
as what everyone wants to know who we debut where in our rankings. And truth be told, we've had the ability to see teams wrestle. So that did weigh in on my rankings for sure, and I know Glenn's as well, because I think we see similar teams being some of the better teams in District 1 right now. We just don't see them in the same places. So which I'm looking forward to maybe having some open dialogue about that right now. And as I know Glenn is too, he's getting all his papers in order.
And unfortunately, we're unable to reconstruct the studio here because we wanted to do kind of like a Stephen A. Smith, face-to-face tape battle for our picks and selections here to start the season with the preseason rankings. But, again, just like Joe said with the coaches, getting to hear, those, I prompted some of my coaches, during my interviews, Coach, about, hey, where are we with Council Rock South and Council Rock North? So I think that's going to be a big discussion, but I think you're going to be surprised at some of the other teams that we're looking at right now in our top 4. And I kind of looking at this year, before we kind of get into this, I kind of want to I love to explain this at this start of the season. So at the end of the season, wrestling fans understand how we get to our district duels and we get to our rankings. You have to look at these things in groups of 4. Teams that are grouped in this top 4 are typically those 4 teams that really stand above the rest of the teams here in District 1. And that second group, that 5 through 8, is again, those are teams, just on the cusp of being in the elite group of 4. There's certainly teams that we've seen in the round of 8 and at the district team championships on day 1 Friday. They've been there. But now we're starting to see this parity throughout District 1. And again, when we talk about seeing teams and ranking teams, we sit side by side and watch these teams wrestle, not only one another, but other teams. And then if we're not, we're out covering teams, or you're with O&J, or you're at a tournament, or we're getting feedback from all different angles. So I think we really have a good gauge of where to start here. And again, we don't have them in the same order that top tier. But again, going back then down through, then you get through your 9 through 12, and that's literally how we do it at the end of the season with the committee that does the ranking. So we certainly aren't the ranking, that guide the team seedings for district duels, but I think we do have a pretty good foundation and a basis for this. So I'm going to let you go first because I'm dying to see who it is.
All right, so I'm going to go 12. You want me to take 4 at a time? You want me to go 12-1? I don't know. What do you?
Yeah, it's your call. It's like
all right, so I'll go.
It's a snake draft, so you can go wherever you want. If you want to start with 1, you go 1.
I'm gonna go 12. I'm gonna go 12 down to 1, and give a little justification on each of them. So I went Boyertown 12, and we went 12 this year. And I think last year we did 4 or 5 maybe, and we threw out some numbers, and Glenn said 12, and I kind of balked at it, looking at it in that text message, and I was like, 12 is gonna be kind of tough. But here we are. I got Boyertown 12, and again, had I not gotten a look at them this weekend and seen what their results were, I honestly would have had them higher than 12. And I alluded to it before when we talked about new coach Nick Christine and a Boyertown team that lacks the star power that they've had in the past. But they do have a pretty balanced lineup with a lot of guys that have had a lot of experience in wrestling varsity, and they still wrestle a pretty tough schedule. They haven't made a lot of adjustments to their schedule. They're still going to some of the bigger tournaments, tougher tournaments. So I got Ruston at 11, and Ruston's kind of an enigma because they're one team I really haven't seen or heard a lot about. But one thing I do know is that they're well coached, and again with that group of coaches they have down there. Between Brad, Aston White, Rick McLaughlin. I know I'm forgetting probably 3 or 4 other guys, but just off the top of my head, like those are guys that come in day in and day out and put in a lot of time and have gotten that program to where it is. So I know Ruston's going to put a quality product on the mat, but again, they're a team that only comes back with I think 1 returning state qualifier. So they're going to be leaning on a lot of guys to provide some depth. Otherwise,
okay. Can I do my 12 and 11 here? Can we do that?
Sure. You want to go 2 and 2?
Yeah, I think
sure.
we'll go 2 and 2. I think it makes sense for me here because, I was the guy last year that, I got down to that 9-10 spot, and I'm like, Joe, I can't do it. I got 2 or 3 teams that can be here at 11 and 12. So I did push the envelope to 12. When I did it this year, I stopped at 10. And when Joe and I had some off-camera conversation, emailing back and forth, prepping for tonight, Joe said he's going 12. So I really threw in Garnet Valley and Westchester Ruston here kind of last minute. Westchester Ruston was definitely in consideration for my top 10. And again, I did get to see some results this weekend, and Garnet Valley did wrestle up there at Boyertown, so we got to see a real good group up there. I call it the group of 4 up there, but we have a 5th team there that we saw up at the Boyertown, duel. So, Garnet Valley and Westchester Ruston to me are very similar teams. I don't see them as teams that can beat the top 4. I don't see them really, maybe cracking the top 8 this year, but they can do some upsetting of some teams. But I think Ruston and Garnet Valley down there in 11 and 12 would probably be about where they would be seated. In the district duel, should they apply and have winning records coming in. And I think what's really important, Joe, this year that we need to look at and think about is, how important it is to win a league title. In the PAC, we know how important it is. It's huge because that really is your ranking, coming out of the PAC. When the season's over, sometimes it's not over. Sometimes we see those matches, boom, boom, boom. I mean, last year we experienced that with O&J and Springford. It seems like we were at the same dual meet time and time again. But leagues are important.
And to your point, again, that Springford O&J duel comes the Wednesday after the seedings are released for district duels. So we talk about, how important it is that leagues I haven't decided at that point. They're wrestling for the league there, and then 2 weeks later they're seeing each other again that Friday night or maybe on Saturday at district duels.
And we've seen this with Westchester, Ruston, and Henderson East over
Exactly.
the years, and Downingtown East, Downingtown West over
Yep.
the years. So, that's why I have Ruston and Garnet Valley down there. I think Garnet Valley, obviously, is going to do a nice job over there. But that's where they are for me. So it's off to number 10 for you.
So I have Quakertown number 10, Kurt Handel, and the Quakertown Panthers. I think they bring back enough high-end talent, and they have a nice supporting cast of guys underneath them that they're going to be a tough out. And if I know anything about Quakertown since I've moved to this part of the state, 14 years ago, is that Quakertown always puts a good team on the mat. And that's a testament to the coaching staff. It's a testament to their community and producing these wrestlers. So I got Quakertown 10, but I also say I think Quakertown can maybe reach into that top 8. Just again, luck of the draw on any given match with some of those 5, 6, 7, 8. They get the toss and they're able to create some matchups. They can become a matchup nightmare for some teams. So, but I have Quakertown conservatively at 10. 9, I got Garnet Valley. I'm going to go on a limb here and say Garnet Valley is going to win a Central League again. And kind of my mindset in the rankings this year is like these are the teams to beat in my opinion until someone beats them. And so with Garnet Valley, I think they're going to win the Central League if they stay healthy. They have a very balanced team. Again, they are lacking some hammers that they've had in the past. But that doesn't change the fact of what Rocco Fantazzi and his staff do down there. That again has made them one of those teams that you have to watch out for. But with that said, in regards to Central League, there's some teams that are definitely creeping up on them. Strathaven, I think at some point in time you'll see them in our rankings this season. Upper Darby will have a say in things. And I'll tell you what, and I believe was it Conestoga Lower Marion that went to tournament in Maryland and medaled like 8 guys and won a tournament. Again, the quality of competition wasn't great, but it is showing that they're putting a full lineup out there. And again, if you can put a guy at every weight class, that is a huge feather in your cap to having success. So the Central League, again, maybe we're seeing a little more parity there, and more on that. So let's I'm gonna turn back over to you, Glenn. Let's see your 10 and 9.
Yeah, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about our picks here. So you're seeing, obviously you've already looked up and down the list, so you know what you're looking at. We're probably going to get into a little bit more debate as we move up the line, but there is some debate here already that we can talk about with our rankings here. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about it, and then we don't have to talk as much as we go up the line. At number 10, I have Boyertown, and Boyertown to me, I've always underranked them in the past. And again, being from the Suburban 1 League, we have a tendency to really favor our local teams. But you can never count Boyertown out of the PAC title. You can't count them out of being in the district duels in the Final Four. You just can't do it. They're a program that has had success, and that's why I have it number 10. And I did get to see their results over the weekend. They weren't that impressive, but they were 3-2, and that's the bottom line. They're gonna rack up wins until they get into the battles with the PACs, O&J and Springford, and once they get to that level, then we'll see where Boyertown stands. So I had to put them in the top 10, so there they are. Now, you got Quakertown down there at 10. I have them up at 7, so I'll talk a little bit about them later. But I see this Quakertown team as a team that kind of is really going to be pushing their way up. Like you said, they're kind of really on the cusp of that top 8, and I put them in there. So we'll talk more about that as I get up there. But Interborough, where did Interborough come from? So Interborough has done nothing but build on success. I think the turning point for Dan Tobin's program was when they hosted the districts. They hosted a district tournament several years ago. It turned it into being a disaster, not because of the way they ran the tournament, but because we had a massive snowstorm. They handled it well. But the Interborough program got some exposure, and they're able to field a full team, Joe. And when you have 14 teams, they're going to roll in the Del Valle League. I mean, that's a very small league. We know that. It now is up to Dan Tobin to get his team in front of the best competition every year, year in and year out. And he does that by starting out at the Boyertown, Bear Duels. And I'll tell you what, he had great results this weekend. I mean, he took Council Rock North to the limit. They beat Boyertown. So I have Interborough as one of those teams to watch this year. I mean, we got to keep an eye on them and see where they're a team that always applies for the district duels. So hopefully this is a year that they get in there and we can see what they're really made of.
So going on to my number 8 and 7, I have Interborough at 8. And to piggyback what you said, you talked about competition. Just this year alone, they went to Boyertown. They're going to Carlisle Invitational. They're going to the Wetzel. Again, they're doing the Rage in the Cage duels at Garnet Valley. They're going to see they have their own tournament at the end of the season, Interborough Invitational. And it's not the best competition, but he's going to get his guys matches, and that's a big deal. When it comes down to just getting them as much experience as possible. But he's definitely challenging this group. I can speak to personal experience with this group. 2 years ago, in middle school, twice in the same season, they beat us. They called us up for a dual meet. We had a spot on our schedule. They had a spot. We went down there and lost a close dual meet, O&J versus Interborough, and then we saw them in the finals of a dual meet tournament later that season. And although we closed the gap, they just, all these guys are sophomores now, or 8th graders, and they were very talented, and they had just a few more guys to go, and you could tell that the program was building, and they definitely are reaping the benefits of that right now. So I think, seeing that, I got them again conservatively at an 8, and I'm saying that because I want to see how they maintain this level of wrestling that they're at, like how they deal with the success that they're having. A lot of them haven't had it as a team like this, so it's great to see. I'm rooting for them, but I also want to see over the course of the season. I think they're always going to be hanging around because they're gonna win not just their league. Although John Basil at Academy Park might have something to say about it, but the fact remains they're going to be a household name this year and definitely next year as well.
Yeah, and this is one of those teams that we talk about parity throughout District 1. This is a team that certainly can put a scare in a lot of teams. So good to see Interborough get in there and have the Del Val represented here in the top 10. It's impressive.
So then I go to my 7th ranked team. I got Neshaminy there, and again, Neshaminy again is a household name in District 1. They haven't been up near the top echelon of teams, but they are steady Eddie. They come every match ready to compete. And this year's gonna be no different. Like you talked about Frank Bing and his staff, and preparing them with the new staff, and I believe they're gonna hit the ground running. They have some good talented guys. Gunnar Spain, they lose a few guys, but they're only really gonna skip a beat, and they're gonna be tough in the SOL, and they're gonna be tough throughout the district. They're gonna be probably in that second group of 4.
All right, so I'm going to get into my number 8 here, and it's Westchester Henderson. A little bit of a drop off here for Henderson, from where Joe has them ranked. But Henderson has had a 2-year run here in the district duels, and I'm going to have to say that this team is not as good as those last 2 teams. So that's why I have them move down a little bit here in these initial rankings. But again, this is a team in the top 8 that you're going to see in the postseason when we get to the district duels, and they're going to be a team to contend with. I mean, you're not going to want to. That's not a team you want to draw in the first round of the district duels. I can tell you that, because they're an experienced team. I mean, this is a team that's been to the district duel Elite 8 for the last 2 years and looking to do it for a 3rd straight year. So you got to be wary of them. And the other thing is they have talented wrestlers. They have talented individuals. When you have talented individuals on your team, and you can fill that lineup with solid wrestling, you can beat a lot of teams out there. So I gotta keep an eye on Westchester Henderson. We talked off camera a little about those teams, but they're not all the same. And Rob Begley has his team very well prepared when they get to the district duels. They're kind of a team that gets better throughout the season. So they started off kind of easy with their schedule. Mowing people down in a dual meet tournament. I think they went 3-0 to my recollection. So, they're off to a good start, and they'll build on their success, and just keep an eye on them. And like I said, Coach Begley, he always has his team prepared. Now we're going to talk about Quakertown, and, Quakertown right now may be the most solid team from top to bottom. They have some depth in the lineup as well. They're a team that can make moves on you when you don't think they can. And that gives them an advantage in a dual meet after the coin toss, because you're kind of stuck sometimes, thinking you got an easy win, and you end up losing that match after you make the move. And I've been a victim of that over the years. Quakertown has been a team that Happer Worsham has battled year in and year out since the Bucksmont League. They're one of the teams that gets bounced around to the Continental and the American Conference, back and forth, and all they do is win league titles. So Quakertown, to me right now, with some state qualifiers on that team, some solid young kids coming through the program, this is a team to watch, maybe a team to watch to sneak up and get into that top 4. And that's why I put them at 7, just because I'm not really sure what they're going to be able to do when we get to the seedings, because they need to be seeded well to do well in the postseason tournament.
All right, so I'm going to move on to my 6th and 5th place ranked teams right now. I got Downingtown West, head coach Brad Breeze and the Whippets. Again, this is a team that's been around for the last few years. They're on a great run, and it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon with the guys that have coming up. Yeah, young Dominic Findor coming off the championship at the Cumberland Valley Kickoff Classic. So it's almost like they're just reloading with younger talent. So I have them there. I think they're going to challenge for the Chestmont, but they're going to have some stiff competition with my 5th ranked team, which is Westchester Henderson. And where you have them at 8, I got them at 5. And this is where I think we're going to go a little head-to-head, and maybe we have some open dialogue. I think this is Henderson's best team that under Rob Begley in recent memory. And I think this is a year of unfinished business for them. I don't think I'm ready to anoint them in the top 4 because, quite frankly, I don't think they're there yet. But this team, I feel, has some definite unfinished business. We remember last year, I think some people had them favored over Boyertown that second day at District Duels. They kind of got caught like deer in headlights, and Boyertown got to run on them. We sat Matt's side, or maybe it was that Friday night at District. I think it was Friday night on the other mat. Yeah, and it was just it snowballed, and that goes to what I said before about Interborough. Like, how do you respond when you're expected to win? And we're at this point now where Henderson's expected, the second year where Henderson's really expected to win. Well, here we are, and I think this is their time that they're gonna shine. They're gonna turn some heads. Now, can they crack that top 4? That's yet to be seen. But I think Rob and the Warriors returned a lot of talent, led by Killian Delaney and Sammy McMonigal. Billy Wilson. Some regional qualifiers they have on their team. So the talent's there. But if they're going to break on through and be the team they're supposed to be, their schedule this year, they did, as you said, start off pretty easy, cruise to the championship Dufresne Lutz Holiday Duels in Upper Marion.
Franny Lutz honor.
Yeah, and honor Fran Lutz. Those that know him, I've never met anyone that didn't like him. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Just a good guy. It was an advocate and for just promoting wrestling. But this weekend they head to King of the Mountain. They wrestle Carville Academy this week. Then they head to King of the Mountain at Central Mountain High School. They wrestle next Tuesday. They wrestle against Council Rock South at Princeton before the Princeton Rider wrestling match. They go to the Battle of the Beach every year, which is a tournament I think they've won the last year or two. But then they go to Escape the Rock. So they're not shying away from competition this year. And Coach Begley, I talk with him often, and I think I know he knows that this is the group he needs to challenge, and they need to take that change in their schedule to showcase who they are. And again, this is my opinion. I think they're appropriately right there in that 5-6 range. I think they're going to change your mind too when it's all said and done, Glenn. So I'm going to go back to you. Let's hear your 6th and 5th ranked teams.
All right. Well, yeah, I may as well. So you had Neshaminy, down there at 7. I have them at 6. So again, I think there's a good spot for them. It's interchangeable. They have some unfinished business as well. I'm not sure if their team is as good as the last couple years either. They did lose some guys to graduation, but they bring back Zach Martin. They have Gunnar Spain, a Drexel commit. You have one other big guy in there, Zach Magdalinskis. I always mess up saying that. So Zach, I apologize earlier when I was doing the video on you. They do not have Sean Murray in this year, an outstanding lightweight. So they have unfinished business as well. I know their goals, were to get to the state duels the last 2 years, and they're going to have a chance again this year. But they're kind of like Henderson to me. They have some unfinished business. Their goal was to get in that top 4 and make it. So we'll see if Frank Bing can keep that team together, because last year in that first round of the district duels, they got through, but they just weren't the team they were when they were peaking earlier in the season, when they were dangerous. They were a dangerous team in District 1 all of last year. So I really like this Neshaminy squad. So we'll see if they keep it together and get there in the postseason. Downingtown West, I mean, what can you say about them? Downingtown West, Dominic Pandora starts things off in their lineup, and then when you get up top, you get to some serious hammers. Maximus Hale is one of the most ferocious wrestlers I've seen in the last 10 years.
He's got a great haircut too.
He has the worst mullet on the planet. I hope he brings it back this year.
Max, Glenn said that, not me.
Well, but that's a compliment, Joe. Max is just the type of guy. If you're going to a wrestling meet, he's the guy you want to make sure you catch that match, and
make sure you're not in the match with him.
Oh yeah, because he just goes at it. I know he suffered a loss in the finals over the weekend at Cumberland Valley, but his buddy Chase Melnick picked him up and got on the top of the podium there, and I believe they had another guy place as well up there up top. So they know how to close out a match. You don't want to start at 106 against them and wrestle straight up, because in between you're just going to get a lot of solid wrestling. So Downingtown West for me really didn't move from last year with my ranking. I think I had them at 5 most of the year. So this is a team that until you beat them, until they kind of lose their ranking, they deserve to be right in that 5 spot. So, in the Neshaminy Downingtown West matchup, the old 5-6 matchup, or even that 4-5 matchup, I always look at when you're looking at the brackets, it's a 4-5. But if you had Downingtown West and Neshaminy going at it, in a second round match, that would just be amazing in the postseason. But, watch out for Downingtown West. I mean, I think they're going to roll in the Chessmont, I'll be honest.
So now we get to our top 4s, and everyone's been looking at this screen now as Glenn and I have talked, and you can see just the difference in our opinions. And Glenn and I we shoot it pretty straight, and we look at these top 4.
Trying to put us on the camera, Joe.
Yeah. So here it is. So we got our top 4, and I go with Rock North, and I'm going with Rock North because they are, I have them just behind O&J based on head-to-head. Now, the first thing people are going to say when they tear me apart is, well, Lucerne wasn't in the lineup. Correct, he was not in the lineup. But if and when they wrestle again, O&J is going to the Rock Yard Duels, as is Springford. So those 3 teams are going to be in the same dual meet tournament. 2 of them are going to be in the same bracket. And then they're probably going to see some combination of each other at district duels. So it's not not the last time they see each other. So, when next time we see each other, the 2-pound allowance will be in, and I think lineups will look a little bit different. If I'm going to go out on a limb and give a prediction to that, and I think that's going to change the game. I don't know. You see next time around the Petrocelli and Robinson match, and they might look to trade there, and there's going to be maneuvering and jockeying, and it's going to depend on the coin toss and those things. But right now, I have Rock North 4 based upon just that head-to-head. Rock North is dangerous. We know that. They got 5 Division I commits on their team. 5. That's a nice problem to have. But they also have some spots that are not so strong. So it's about covering those losses and not getting exposed too much. And I think all of our teams in District 1, it's about limiting limiting the chances of being exposed where you're not strong. So then I have Owen J. Roberts at number 3, and I got Owen J. Roberts there because as I'll get to my top 2, I'll tell you why I have them ahead of them. But Owen J. Roberts again has a lot of top end talent, but then they also have some holes in their lineup that can be exposed by some other teams, not just in the area but statewide. So Owen J's got some work to do, as do all these teams. We're making these predictions, and it's December. It's the second week of the season. I mean, so there's gonna be a lot of growth in these teams, and for a while, and we talked about in the bottom part of the rankings, we were really throwing darts at dartboard for some teams and seeing what stuck where. But it's kind of easy. It's easy. We have the same 4 teams, just in different spots here at the top end of our rankings. Owen J, like I said, led by Connor Quinn, Antonio Petroselli, David Forrest. There's a few guys on that team that by season's end you're going to know their names: Austin Bowman, Connor Leister. There's some guys that had to wait their turn to get into this lineup, and so they're going to be a tough out. As is Rock North. And again, I could be wrong. I mean, Rock North and Owen J could be the top 2 teams when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and if you look at it on the Mike, maybe Mike can put that up behind us, or pull it right up on the screen. We kind of have this inverted a little bit, with our top 4. So the argument here for Council Rock North, I'm just going to make my argument a little bit. We'll try and debate this a little bit. Council Rock North has some serious individual talent. I mean, we got guys that are going Division I up and down that lineup. That to me is the number one thing that jumps out, and that's why I put them at number 1. Number 2 is I think this is the year Council Rock North can take down Council Rock South. I think that they're close enough now where Council Rock North has the firepower to beat Council Rock South. So for me right away, that's why I put them at number 1. Number 2 was that talent. And the third part is I think that the cast of characters now for Council Rock North, some of those kids that are now going to be in the lineup are a little bit more experienced. You have 1 or 2 younger kids coming into the lineup that bring added talent, which, like you said, you got some guys at O&J. Maybe they're not household names right now. Council Rock North might have a couple kids that are in the same boat, just like a Cam Robinson, 4 years ago. So I really like Council Rock North. I think this is their time. I think they've had an opportunity the last couple of years. Biggest problem with Council Rock North last year was they couldn't make it to the end of the season intact with that full lineup. They had a lot of adversity they had to work through. I just have a sense with West Point and Navy type character on that team, that those type of leaders, they're going to keep this thing together. So I'm a big fan of Council Rock North this year. And they started things out right, at the Boyertown duels, and I'm going to disagree with you that with Luke Lazerne in the lineup, that changes Council Rock North's mobility. It also allows them to wrestle head to head against some of these top 4 teams, including O&J, and beat them. So that's why I have Council Rock North up there. So I'll talk about my number 4 team, Springford, which we haven't talked about. Springford, boy, what a household name they have been here in District 1. I mean, and you used to talk about Boyertown in the pack, and now all of a sudden it's Springford. So, we'll talk about O&J a little bit more too when we move up into the top 2 for me. But this Springford team, we were talking about Joey Milano off camera. I mean, this guy is on a mission to win a state title, and he's going to win it this year. He's not waiting. He's the type of kid that is impatient, and he likes to win. He likes to beat you up. He likes to get a tech fall in the first period. That's devastating to momentum for a good team. If you are, if that team needs a pickup, and Joey Milano is the guy, at that weight where they need to stop the bleeding, change the momentum, and just snatch it away from another team, it's Joey Milano. And you got Louis Carbajal up there. I'm not sure what weight he's going to go this year, but he's a grinder. So you got 2 upper weights guys that can go. They have a heavyweight as well. that I believe is down in weight class. Am I correct on that?
Not sure where Brogan's going to be.
Yeah,
this year.
I don't know if Brogan's going to. Maybe he's going to be at heavyweight. I think he is. Maybe it's Louis that's down a little bit. But they have some hammers up top, which you don't see a lot out there in District 1. So they have a little bit of advantage over some of these other teams. The key for them is going to be down low. They're going to have to kind of get some points down low, kind of maintain in the middle, and then take care of business up top. So Springford to me is the most dangerous team in this grouping. And I have them at number 4 because I'm kind of like Coach Sizlove. I look at things a little bit realistic. I kind of sometimes kind of downplay a little bit. But this is a team you're going to see in the postseason make some noise, and it's really going to come down to who really wins the pack. I mean, for me, the mindset going to district duels, like if they win that match after that seeding meeting, whoever wins that match, they're going to be the team in the pack to keep an eye on. It kind of happened this past year.
Mm-hmm.
So this Springford team, to me, is very, very dangerous.
So my 2-1, and I kind of alluded to my mindset earlier. I got Springford 2, and Springford is in the pack, in my opinion, team to beat until they got the better of O&J a few times last year, and I just think they bring back a more balanced lineup at this point in time. So I have them at number 2, and their that balanced lineup and some of the things that Glenn said gives them the ability to just attack teams and down low some of the younger guys. The Smiths at no relation at 106 and 120. They're 9th graders, but Quinn and Cole, Quinn something, had the pleasure of seeing them. And this is like that group that I really got to see a lot of the Needles, McGill, Milano group come through and how talented they were. And I wouldn't say this one is as talented, but there is definitely a lot of balance of talent coming up, and it's quality depth. And being put into Stern Lab as freshmen, they're going to come out and they're going to produce for Coach Sizlove. So despite what and we're not giving Coach Sizlove a hard time. I have immense respect for him and the program he's built. But if you ever have the chance to sit down, and a lot of coaches that will watch this will know, he'll tell you that they're not the team to beat, and he just takes an approach. He wants to deflect as much attention away from them. I'm not trying to put attention on them, neither is Glenn, but we're just calling it how we see it. So I got them as my number 2, and I wouldn't say it's clear number 2 because you can see just between Glenn and I the difference we have in our top 4s. But then I have Council Rock South as number 1, and it's pretty simple for me. They're number 1 until someone beats them. I mean, that could be tomorrow. That could be tomorrow in that Springford match. It could be next week against Henderson. And I had the privilege to chat via email with Coach Stone Perry, and he's beaming at this team this year, not because he's saying that they're going to be good. It's because there's so many unknowns, and he said it's going to be a great and fun group to coach and see where these kids, how they mature and how they perform and how they grow as wrestlers, and he's excited about that process. And again, that's just a testament to the program he runs and the mindset that he has, that he takes to his team. Like he's so excited about the journey with this group, and not so much focused on the end result, because I'm sure he believes that if they take care of everything along the way, the end result's going to be where they expect to be. And there's not a lot of household names on this Rock South team. Minus they do have some top end talent, but a lot of the guys, the supporting cast, I think they're going to turn a lot of heads. I think they're going to be better than people think they're going to be, despite all the talent they lost last year. You still have your College Ezzies, your Watermans, your Gilch, those guys are going to some Division I schools, but the facts still remain that they have a lot of other talented kids on that team that have had to sit behind and wait their turn. So I think you're going to see them turn loose against Springford tomorrow.
I'm going to look at Owen J. Roberts a little more objectively than you, Joe. Owen J. Roberts, if you look at my rankings, everyone's going, how can you have Council Rock North ahead of Owen J. Roberts? Owen J. Roberts just beat them. I kind of explained a little bit why I felt that earlier, that I think that Council Rock North with their full lineup is able to win that match. It'll be close. It'll be a 1, 2, 3 point match, very similar to the last one, won by 4 points in that match. But this Owen J. Roberts team, to me, is the second best team. I don't care if it's Council Rock North or Council Rock South that may jump ahead of them at some point based on some results over the next couple weeks. But Owen J. Roberts, we were talking off camera about this. This is a program that has a group of kids right now where they are a true team. They are a team from the start of the season to the end of the season, through thick and thin. It doesn't matter about injuries. It doesn't matter about who's sick, who's out of the lineup. Owen J. just comes to wrestle. They show up in the gym. They walk in. You can tell they are a team that knows one another. You can tell that they work hard together. You can tell that they're well coached, and they have talent. And they have talent up and down the lineup. Petroselli, kind of the leader right now of this group with Mancini graduating. But we saw some outstanding matches last year out of Owen J. Roberts, and I just think they're going to keep the same level of wrestling, and it's a very, very high level of wrestling, and that's why I have them at 2. People
how are you more objective than me?
No. I'm saying that you sometimes you have them a little bit lower. One below, but I just think that this team, I'm looking at it as a fan from the Suburban 1 League. That's kind of what I'm saying to you, because I think a lot of people get the form. When you look at the form, it seems like it's the pack against the SOL, or the Chessmont against the SOL, or the pack against the world. I don't do that when I look at Owen J. Roberts. I just look at them as a quality program, very much like I do with Council Rock South. So the reasoning, with Council Rock South, because I really haven't talked about Council Rock South. I mean, Council Rock South, I can't believe I have them at 3 either. I just told you before, I just have a gut feeling that this is Council Rock North year. That's why I got to start them at 1. I think I did it last year as well.
No, 2 years ago we both had them at 1.
It was 2 years ago. So I don't know how confident I am with kind of keeping Council Rock South out of the top 2 spots. If you look at all those rankings, you look at PA Power Ranking dual rankings, you look at Intermat. I looked at Intermat the other day. Council Rock clearly is the best team that's highly ranked in those rankings, above Springford, above Owen J. Roberts. It is Council Rock South, and the reason is, there's guys like Joel Martin. I can't even say it. Joel Martin Zavosky. I hope I don't screw that up. Sorry, Joel. And Mohammed Savradinov, who have already shown that they can win at high level tournaments at Cumberland Valley. I'm going to try one more time. Marcinovsky took 3rd place at 160 pounds. Savardinov was 5th at 132. And don't forget about Kevin Kinney down at 106 now. We're at his true weight class. So, you talk about, they're down. No, it's next man up, as Coach Sillen Perry has talked about over the years. So Council Rock South, Council Rock North, to me, the winner of that dual meet, when they wrestle for what will probably be the SOL National Crown, will be the team for me that goes to number 1 until we get to the district duels, because I feel that the 2-pack teams, Owen J. Roberts and Springford right now, are kind of interchangeable, just like I feel North and South are. So I can't wait until these are posted and the video's been shown and everyone gets a chance to start throwing their rankings up, because I know a lot of fans wait to see the first. Sometimes it's somebody on the forum that kind of starts this whole thing, but we're going to get critiqued. But I think we've created a lot of a discussion. I think there is some parity in the top 4, which I don't think we've seen that in a long time, which I'm really looking forward to this match. This match is already over, the Council Rock South Springford match, but we'll have some comment on that the next time we're going live, broadcasting a match. So I'm really excited to see what our rankers do, because we're just the top 2 guys that do the rankings, but we have a host of rankers, coaches, media guys, contributors that do the rankings. And then again, Mike and I'll have that opportunity to sit in and see how the coaches rank these teams, which they don't like to do at the beginning of the year. But you're gonna, you've heard from them already. They don't like to do it. And we really that's a tough question for them. They really don't want to say it. They don't really want to talk about themselves. But the bottom line is, District 1 Wrestling, our team championships here, I would say in the last 10 years have become extremely competitive. Because, when District Duels first started back in the day when Jeff Madden, put this out on the table, to the committee, to the coaches, to the ADs, to the principals, and to have the PIAA District 1 guys say, yeah, we need to do this. And then, of course, who followed? The PIAA. And it's a pretty big deal. So the top 4 that come out of District 1 and go to states, we always have a chance at one of those teams medaling. And Council Rock South has carried that banner for us the last couple of years. It was Boyertown before that. So I'm not saying the dynasty's over at Council Rock South. I just think you might see a different District 1 team champion this year.
So there you have it. There's Glenn and I's top teams. And again, we rattled off some dates and some things that these teams are going to be at, where they're going to see each other. Most notably, by the time you're seeing this, the Rock South Spring 4 match is already going to be over. You can look forward to Rock South and Westchester Henderson coming up. The Rock Yard Duels later in the season, where O&J Springford Rock North will be there. Escape the Rock, where Escape the Rock, I believe Springford's there this year. They're up in their schedule, so that's again another hats off to Springford and their staff on up in their schedule and getting their guys more competition, getting them ready for those big tournaments. O&J's there, has been a mainstay at Escape the Rock for years. Henderson makes their way there, so there's going to be a lot of intermingling of these top teams at these tournaments and dual meet tournaments and even head to head.
Yeah, King of the Mountain will be another place to see some head to head of those top guys battling out. And I think at the King of the Mountain, you might see some of these guys drop weight after these first couple of matches and tournaments. The King of the Mountain kind of, for me, is that barometer for where those guys are going to be. And then, you get those 2 pounds at Christmas. I mean, that's a beautiful Christmas present, Joe.
It is.
I wish I would be getting 2 pounds as well. But 2 pounds off just naturally. It's not going to happen. I'm going to have to work at it. But then after the holidays and we roll into the new year, and again, we get right into the King of the Mount, or not the King of the Mount, excuse me, Escape the Rock. And then you start to see some of those dual meet tournaments again. And you're like, here we go. And then there's that little bit of lull. I hate that little bit of lull before the district duel first round. But the pack will be heating up. Council Rock North and South will be getting ready to do battle for their league. We'll see what's happening down in the Chestmont, because I think that's kind of key as well. We kind of know what's going to happen in the Central League, I think, with Garnet Valley. And we'll see where Interborough finishes up. So, you got 12 teams here to look at. I think let's talk about some of the fringe teams. We really haven't talked about that. I did want to talk quickly about Hatfield Horsham and Wissahickon and Abington down in the American Conference of the Suburban 1 League. They're going to have a 3-way battle. I kind of like that in league battle. Our leagues are changing next year in the SOL. We're going to 2 divisions. We talked about this off camera. So this may be the last chance for Hatfield Horsham to actually grab a league title in this American Conference. So I think they're going to be fired up. And there's some other teams out there. Quakertown does have some challengers, North Penn being the biggest one. But I don't know if North Penn has enough talent to crack the into the duels this year. But we shall see. Again, around the SOL, Pennsbury. Who's talking about Pennsbury? Nobody. Wayne Stinson has Pennsbury prepared this year to do better than he did in his first season. And, you can't not just, ignore them in a duel meet. I know Neshaminy, Council Rock North, Council Rock South does not take Pennsbury lightly. So there's another team, Pennsbury, that's going to be, when we get into our, rankings down the road, when you're trying to pick your top 10 and make those votes. I mean, you gotta look at those teams. I'm not so sure how good Westchester East is going to be. That's a team that we've talked about in the last couple of years. We've seen them in the district duels as well. I don't know if that's a team we're going to see in the district duels this year.
No, I don't think so. I think you'll see Downingtown East be improved from last year in the Chestmont, another team in the Chestmont. Sun Valley's going to field a full lineup for the first time in a while, with quality depth across the board. Obviously led by former state champ and last year third placer Hunter Katka. So the team down there, the Vanguards are gonna be a team that's gonna make some noise. Coming out of the Central League, I talked about it in my top 12. Garnet Valley being the team to beat, but they're gonna have some challengers, especially upstart Strathaven. Coach Giuliano from Strathaven thinks that they are the team to beat. So we'll see how that works out for them. Again, they're a team that lost 3 stars off last year. Squad was pretty tough, and they're that much tougher. Everyone a year older, and with some new guys sprinkled into the fold. So there's teams parity, as we talked about. There's parity within the district, and it might be a tough that Sunday sitting in there deciding that bracket might be pretty tough. Might be tougher than they want it to be, but that's a good thing. That it is a tough to make that 16. So Glenn, say, I'll propose a question here and then shoot you one from the hip. Say that, this parity continues. Will they consider going back to a larger bracket?
Well, that's been discussed. I mean, we're talking about another team that might be absent this year is a team like Methacton that perennially has been around that time of year. There has been discussion. I think the biggest problem now is the time and the grind on the kids. And we've already talked about the grind from the start of those district duels and going all the way through. Those guys are wrestling again on that Monday after the finals. And then next thing you know, we'll be at districts. Now, thank God we're skipping the leagues and sections. They don't exist anymore, so there's a week to kind of get healthy. I am a proponent of having a larger playoff system, just because District 1 is one of the largest districts in the state of Pennsylvania. So why not apply this playoff approach that we have with 32 teams and all the other sports? And 24 is a good number. I think that for me works. I think logistics has been an issue. I think finances are an issue. So there are some pros and cons for the more teams. I think it's better because you get better individual matchups that you're not going to see. Or you may never see. You may have that one team that just doesn't have that schedule where you're going to run into Council Rock South and you want your kid to wrestle that guy. You're going to see him at district. You want to gauge yourself. So I like it.
Yeah.
There's talk about going to 8. Mike and I have sat in those meetings. Why aren't we going 8? Why are we doing this? Well, if we're going to promote the sport, 24 makes sense to me. So
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going to go. That's a great question. Is that from the hip?
It was. Just came to mind.
Woo!
So that's how we roll. So there you have it. I mean, we just sat and rapped about these top teams and fringe teams that we brought up, and talking about expanding the bracket. I mean, we hit a lot of points. Looking forward to seeing some feedback about our picks here. In fact, expecting it.
Keep it clean.
Doesn't matter to me. So that's what Glenn and I have. This is our last installment of the preview. Again, thanks for tuning in. And we're looking forward to seeing a lot of teams this year, getting out to a lot of different matches, doing our best to see as many teams in different leagues as possible. And just keep in mind, we try to find the best match possible, and we try to do our best not to repeat matches. But a lot of times, the matches that people want to see are teams that kind of come up a lot. So we're going to do our best as always to get out and see as many teams as possible. So again, as always, Glenn.
Yeah, and just a special thanks to Schuylkill Valley Sports and ASICS for getting behind us this year and sponsoring us. We're looking forward to a long partnership and a great relationship with them, and we'll see you on the mats.